What if chaos itself was Ra's weapon? You have been shown the image of a sun god of perfect, benevolent, and predictable order. You have been told the story of a golden deity sailing a placid, azure sky, a celestial king whose greatest power was the gentle and life-giving warmth of his light. But what if this was only his summer face, the peaceful mask he wore for a world that was still in its infancy? What if, in the heart of the storm, in the howling abyss of the desert, in the moments when creation itself hung in the balance, Ra revealed his true and terrifying nature, not as a king of light, but as a master of the whirlwind? Ancient Egyptian mythology, the version that has been scrubbed clean and presented to you as a collection of quaint and primitive fables, hides a secret of immense and dangerous power. It is the secret that Ra, the sun god, the ultimate principle of divine order, did not fear destruction. He wielded it. The sandstorms that scoured the Egyptian landscape were not seen by the initiates as random acts of a mindless nature, nor as the malevolent breath of his eternal enemy, Set. They were understood as tools, as weapons, as instruments of a divine and terrible surgery. Ra did not flee from the chaos. He rode it. He harnessed it, and in the heart of its blinding fury, he performed his greatest work, the restoration of a cosmic order that had teetered on the brink of collapse. This is not just a myth. This is a living, breathing blueprint for a lost technology of the soul. It is the forgotten science of how to harness the very chaos that you have been taught your entire life to fear. And it is a truth that has been deliberately buried because a human being who has learned to ride the storm of their own life and of the world is a human being who can no longer be controlled. The chaos is not your enemy, it is your chariot. The desert of ancient Egypt was not an empty wasteland. It was not the dead and barren space that your modern, materialist mind perceives. To the initiates of the temple, the desert was a living entity. It was a conscious and intelligent dimension, a parallel reality that existed alongside the fertile, ordered world of the Nile Valley. It was the domain of the god Set, the principle of entropy, of sterility, of the fierce and untamed wilderness that lies beyond the fragile boundaries of civilization. The desert was the physical manifestation of Isfet, of chaos itself. And the sandstorms that were born in its fiery heart were not meteorological phenomena. They were the breath of the gods. They were the moments when the veil between the ordered world and the chaotic world grew thin, when the raw, uncreated power of the abyss would rise up and temporarily reclaim the land. The daily journey of Ra across the sky was not just a passage through a blue and empty space. It was a perilous and heroic voyage across the great celestial desert, an endless and blinding ocean of light and sand. It was a metaphysical battlefield, a liminal zone where the forces of order and chaos were in a state of perpetual, high-tension equilibrium. To sail the solar bark through this sky desert was an act of supreme and unwavering will. It was to navigate a realm where visibility could vanish in an instant, where the path forward was not a line on a map, but a thread of pure intention held in the mind of the god. It was a journey where only a perfect and absolute internal equilibrium could prevent the ship of consciousness from being capsized by the howling winds of the void. And this celestial journey is the perfect holographic blueprint for the journey of your own soul. You are not a creature of the fertile Nile Valley. You are a creature of the desert. The moments of clarity, of peace, of flow in your life are the brief and beautiful oases. But the true terrain of your existence is the great inner desert of the mind. It is the vast, arid, and often terrifying landscape of confusion, of adversity, of loss, of the dark night of the soul. It is the place where your old certainties have turned to dust, where your path has disappeared, where the light of your own inner sun seems to be swallowed by a blinding and meaningless chaos. You have been taught to fear this inner desert. You have been taught that these moments of crisis are a sign of failure, a spiritual sickness to be medicated, to be escaped, to be gotten over as quickly as possible. The initiates of Ra knew a different truth. They knew that the desert was not a prison. It was a forge. It was not a place of death. It was the place where the true and indestructible nature of the self was revealed. And they knew that the sandstorm was not an enemy to be hidden from. It was a power to be faced, to be understood, and ultimately to be harnessed. The secret of this divine technology is hidden in the most obscure and powerful of the ancient myths. The story of Ra's ultimate confrontation with his nemesis, the great serpent of chaos, Apep. The exoteric story tells of a battle, but the esoteric story tells of a storm. In the deepest hour of the night, as Ra's solar bark sailed through the most dangerous region of the Duat, Apep would rise from the abyss. But he was not alone. He was accompanied by a legion of lesser demons, the children of rebellion. In this moment of ultimate peril, when the forces of chaos threatened to overwhelm the ship of light, the texts say that Ra did not simply fight back with rays of light or words of power. He did something far more terrifying. He unleashed a storm, a sandstorm, in the heart of the underworld. He did not conjure it from nothing. He called it forth from the very fabric of the desert dimension itself. He opened a gateway and allowed the raw, untamed fury of Set's domain to flood the battlefield. It was a storm so violent, so blinding, that even the demons of the Duat, beings born of darkness and chaos, were thrown into confusion. They could not see. They could not find the solar bark. They turned on each other in their panic. And in the heart of this storm that he himself had unleashed, Ra rode his solar bark, cloaked in a whirlwind of sand, invisible, untouchable, and serene. This was the Sandstorm Harness. It was not a weapon in the human sense of a sword or a spear. It was a state of being. It was the mastery of a cosmic paradox. It was the ability to take the enemy's greatest weapon, chaos, and to turn it into your own greatest shield. It was the divine jujitsu of the soul. Ra did not defeat the chaos by opposing it with order. He defeated the chaos by becoming a greater, more intelligent, and more purposeful chaos. He inverted destruction into a tool of perfect protection. The temple inscriptions and the hidden texts are filled with clues to this lost science. Ra is given the epithet, the one who commands the whirlwind. He is described as the Lord of the Storm. These were not poetic flourishes. They were technical descriptions of a specific and replicable form of energetic mastery. It was a coded message to the initiates. Do not pray for the storm to pass. Pray for the wisdom to learn how to ride it. For the one who masters the storm, the one who can find the still point at the center of the whirlwind, is the one who becomes the master of all worlds. The choice is simple and absolute. Control the storm, or be consumed by it. To comprehend this divine technology, you must be willing to let go of the childish and dualistic programming that has been drilled into you. You must be willing to see beyond the lie of good and evil. You must be willing to step into the profound and terrifying paradox that lies at the heart of all of creation, the symbiotic and necessary dance of Ma'at and Isfet. You have been taught that Ma'at, the principle of divine order, is good, and that Isfet, the principle of chaos, is bad. This is a spiritual nursery rhyme. The truth is that they are two co-equal and co-eternal principles, the two hands of the one God. Ma'at is the force of creation, of structuring, of differentiation. Isfet is the force of decreation, of dissolution, of the return to the formless. One is the inhale of the universe. The other is the exhale. A universe with only Ma'at would be a static, frozen, and dead universe, a perfect crystal that never changes. A universe with only Isfet would be a formless, chaotic, and non-existent abyss. The universe you inhabit, the living, breathing, and evolving cosmos, exists only because these two forces are in a state of perpetual, dynamic, and high-tension balance. The secret of the gods, the secret of Ra, was not to choose a side. It was to become the master of the balance itself. It was to learn to wield both forces as tools. The Sandstorm Harness is the ultimate symbol of this mastery. It is the conscious and deliberate use of the force of chaos, Isfet, for the ultimate purpose of restoring the divine order, Ma'at. It is a form of cosmic homeopathy, using a small and targeted dose of the poison of chaos to cure the disease of a greater chaos. Ra looks at the battlefield and sees that his enemies, the demons of Apep, are themselves agents of chaos. He understands that you cannot fight a fire with a gentle stream of water. You must fight it with a controlled backburn. He unleashes the sandstorm not to add to the chaos, but to create a chaos so total, so overwhelming, that it consumes the lesser chaos of his enemies. He uses the storm to reset the battlefield. The sand does not just blind, it purifies. It scours the landscape clean. It buries that which must die so that a new and more perfect order can be born from the clean slate. This is a principle that is echoed in the creation myths of every great civilization. It is the terrible and beautiful dance of Shiva Nataraja, the cosmic dancer, whose wild and ecstatic movements destroy the old and corrupt universe to make way for the new. It is the berserker rage of the Norse god Odin, who enters a state of divine madness to channel a power that can defeat the forces of the frost giants. It is the thunderbolt of Zeus, a raw and destructive power that clears the sky and restores the divine order of Olympus. The message is the same. The highest form of divine power is not the gentle and predictable maintenance of the status quo. It is the terrifying and beautiful wisdom to know when the old order has become so corrupt, so sick, so out of alignment with Ma'at, that it must be allowed to burn. It is the courage to not just weather the storm, but to call it down. Ra's ultimate power is not that he can avoid disorder, but that he knows when and how to let it rage, and how to use its terrible and purifying fire for the sake of a greater and more perfect creation. Now, you must perform the ultimate act of alchemy. You must take this grand, cosmic myth and you must find it in the only place it has ever truly mattered, within the humble and forgotten temple of your own soul. The Sandstorm Harness is not a lost and ancient weapon of the gods. It is a living, breathing, and dormant technology of consciousness that exists within you. The sandstorm is the natural state of the unawakened human mind. It is the perpetual internal chaos of your own thoughts, your fears, your anxieties, your conflicting desires. It is the blinding whirlwind of confusion, of anger, of grief that arises in you in a moment of crisis. You have been taught to fear this inner storm. You have been taught to see it as a sign of your own weakness, your own madness. You have been taught to do everything in your power to suppress it, to numb it, to distract yourself from it. You have been taught to run from the storm and to pray for the return of the calm, sunny weather of your own comfortable and predictable ego. But Ra teaches a different path. He teaches that peace is not found by resisting the storm, but by becoming the stillness within it. He teaches that storm itself, the raw, chaotic, and terrifying energy of your own emotional and psychological crisis, is not the enemy. It is a source of immense and untapped power. And the secret is not to end the storm, but to learn how to harness it. This is the inner meaning of the Sandstorm Harness. It is a technology of consciousness. It is the forgotten science of how to ride the whirlwind of your own being. The first step is to reverse your programming. You must stop seeing your inner chaos as a flaw. You must begin to see it as a signal. The storm is not a sign that you are broken. It is a sign that the old, false, and limited structures of your ego are breaking down. It is a sign that a deeper and more powerful part of you is trying to be born. It is a spiritual sandstorm, and its purpose is to scour your inner landscape clean of all the dead and decaying beliefs that are preventing your own evolution. The second step is to find the still point. In the center of every hurricane, there is an eye of perfect calm. In the heart of your own emotional storm, no matter how violent it may seem, there is a point of silent, witnessing awareness. This is your inner Ra. It is the part of you that is not the thought, not the feeling, not the story, but is the silent, unmoved consciousness that is watching it all. The great and secret practice of meditation is not about stopping the storm. It is about learning to anchor your identity in this still point. You let the winds of fear howl. You let the sands of confusion blind you. But you, the true you, remain at the center, watching, aware, and unafraid. From this still point, you can begin the third and final step, the harnessing. You are now the eye of the storm. You are no longer being thrown about by the chaos. You are the center around which the chaos is revolving. And from this position of power, you can begin to direct it. You can take the raw, destructive energy of your anger, and you can use it as fuel to set a powerful and necessary boundary in your life. You can take the chaotic energy of your fear, and you can use it to sharpen your senses and to plan with a meticulous and brilliant precision. You can take the deep, pulling energy of your grief, and you can use it to dissolve the old attachments that have been keeping you a prisoner. You are no longer a victim of the storm. You are the god who is riding it. The ancient initiates practiced this science in very real and tangible ways. Their techniques of breathwork were not just for relaxation. They were for generating and controlling the inner wind. Their use of chants and mantras was not just for devotion. It was the science of using sound to create a coherent vibrational center in the midst of the chaotic frequencies of the body and mind. And their practice of sun gazing, of looking directly into the rising or setting sun, was not an act of worship. It was an attempt to directly entrain the frequency of their own inner Ra with the great cosmic Ra, to download the codes of the master navigator into their own system. The Sandstorm Harness is not a metaphor. It is a replicable and powerful technology for turning your greatest moments of crisis into your greatest moments of creation. The chaos is not the problem. Your fear of it is. The world you are living in is not a gentle and predictable garden. It is a desert, and a great and terrible storm is brewing on the horizon. The old order is dying. The structures that once seemed so solid, your governments, your economies, your religions, your very sense of a shared reality, are turning to dust before your eyes. You are living in a planetary scale sandstorm, and you have been taught to be terrified of it. You have been taught to hide, to pray for a return to normalcy, to cling to the crumbling ruins of the old world. But Ra's wisdom offers you a different path. It offers you a technology for not just surviving the collapse, but for using its immense and chaotic energy to create the new world that is waiting to be born. The myth of the Sandstorm Harness is a universal law, and it is the most relevant and practical piece of wisdom for the time you are living in. The law is this: every crisis, every collapse, every storm contains a vast and untapped potential energy. And that energy is neutral. It is not good or bad. It is simply power. And power can either be used to destroy, or it can be used to create. The choice is yours. Look at the history of your world. Great civilizations are not born in times of peace and comfort. They are forged in the fires of crisis. The greatest innovations, the most profound leaps in science and art and philosophy are not the products of calm and stable societies. They are the desperate and brilliant solutions that are born in times of war, of plague, of collapse. The same is true for the individual. Your greatest moments of personal resilience, your most profound breakthroughs in consciousness, your deepest discoveries of your own inner strength did not come from your victories. They came from your failures. They came from your heartbreaks. They came from the moments when your life fell apart, when you were lost in the blinding sandstorm of your own crisis, and you were forced to discover a strength and a wisdom within you that you never knew you possessed. The storm did not destroy you. It revealed you. Ra's Sandstorm Harness is the secret science of consciously and deliberately engaging with this process. It is the choice to stop being a victim of the crisis and to become a student of it. It is the courage to walk directly into the heart of the storm of your life and to ask the one and only question that matters. What is the opportunity here? What is the raw material for a new creation that this destruction is offering me? When you lose your job, you are not a victim of the economy. You are being given the raw, chaotic energy of a blank slate, the opportunity to finally build a life that is in alignment with your soul, not your resume. When a relationship ends, you are not a victim of heartbreak. You are being given the sacred and terrifying opportunity to let go of an old identity and to discover who you are without it. When your society begins to crumble, you are not a victim of history. You are being given a front-row seat at the greatest construction site in the universe. The chaos is not the end. It is the raw material. It is the uncarved block of stone. And you have a choice. You can be the person who is crushed by the block as it falls. Or you can be the master sculptor who sees in its chaotic form the potential for a masterpiece. This is the ultimate and most practical magic. It is the alchemy that turns the lead of crisis into the gold of creation. It is the technology of the phoenix. And it is the one and only path forward in a world that is now in a state of permanent and accelerating storm. The ancient prophecies, the ones carved into the hidden walls of the Temple of Dendera, the ones that the Egyptologists dismiss as poetic fantasy, speak of the great turning of the ages. They speak of a return of the sand god, a time when the world will be plunged into a great and purifying chaos, and when humanity will be forced to forget the gentle, comforting gods of its childhood, and to remember the terrible and beautiful power of the God who rides the storm. That time is now. You are living in the prophecy. The sand is rising. The great storm of our age is not just the ecological collapse of your climate, not just the social and political upheaval that is tearing your nations apart, not just the digital blizzard of information and misinformation that is blinding your minds. It is all of these things at once. It is a perfect and multidimensional storm. It is a planetary scale initiation, and its purpose is not to destroy you, but to force you to evolve. Its purpose is to scour your civilization clean of the lies, the imbalances, and the unsustainable structures of the old paradigm. Its purpose is to create a blank slate. And the energy that is being unleashed in this process, the raw and terrifying power of the global chaos, is the energy that will be used to build the next world. The question is, who will wield it? The prophecy of the return of Ra is not the prophecy of the return of an external savior god. It is the prophecy of the return of a state of consciousness. It is the reawakening of the solar, the fierce, the regenerative, and the chaos-mastering principle of Ra within a critical mass of humanity. The god is not returning to a temple of stone. He is returning to the temple of the human heart. And the Sandstorm Harness is not a lost artifact. It is the inheritance of every soul that has the courage to claim it. You are a child of the sun. You are a being of light. But you have forgotten that the sun is not just a gentle warmth. It is a nuclear furnace. You have forgotten that your light is not a fragile candle. It is a star. And the nature of a star is not to hide from the darkness, but to burn at its center. You are being called, in this great and terrible time, to stop being a victim of the storm and to remember your own divine nature. You are being called to become the eye of the hurricane. You are being called to find that still, silent, and all-powerful point within you, your own inner Ra, and to anchor yourself there. And from that place of sovereign stillness, you are being called to perform the ultimate act of magic, to take the chaotic, destructive, and terrifying energy of the world's own self-destruction and to use it as the fuel for your own, and for the planet's rebirth. This is the final and most profound meaning of the Sandstorm Harness. It is not a weapon of war. It is a tool of midwifery. It is the science of how to stand in the heart of the contractions of a dying world and to help to birth a new one. The chaos is not the end. It is the labor pain. The future will not be inherited by the meek who hid from the storm. It will be built by the masters of the whirlwind, the ones who had the courage to ride the chaos and to use its terrible and beautiful power to create. When the sand rises again, it will not blind us. It will reveal the light that endures within the storm. If this video resonated with you, let us know by commenting, "I understood it."